she's on the phone.
Yeah, so let's bring her on in.
Yeah.
Beverly
Right.
Jenkins.
Beverly.
Yes, how are you?
Hey,
How you living, girl?
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. We got the numbers mixed up, so I apologize for not knowing I was supposed to call a different number. But,
Oh, well, then that's not your fault.
We're glad you're here.
And then that's not your fault. You know
I'm
what I
like,
mean?
how am I going to talk to him if
I
nobody answers
know,
the
right?
phone?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people don't know about you, Beverly, but you've been doing it for a long time.
I really have. I've been out here since 1994.
Well, name us like maybe your two top.
Two top books.
Yeah.
Right now it's the Blessing series, which is my sort of Christian fiction, women's fiction.
What's it called?
The first book is called Bring on the Blessings.
Oh, okay.
But for historical, which is how I made my name, a good one is Topaz, which is set in Indian Territory. Features a black Seminole sheriff and a sister who's a reporter, set in probably 1870s.
Okay.
And then another one, which is the first book, which was, lots of critical acclaim, was my very first book, which is Night Song, which is set in the all-black towns in Kansas in the 1880s and features the Buffalo Soldiers. So I'm having a ball.
Apparently. And
Right.
you sound real versatile, you know what I mean?
And Beverly, so you doing that Django thing, basically,
Well,
but
you
you
know
doing
what? The
it on
sister
books.
told me that Tarantino owes me money.
Is that right?
Because I did a bounty hunter probably, I don't know, 10 years ago. And,
You would have wrote that?
huh?
You wrote that?
Now, I wrote a book about a black bounty hunter, 10 years ago.
Wow.
And his name is The Preacher. And he is
That was a movie, wasn't it, The Preacher?
Buck and the Preacher, yeah.
Buck and the
yeah.
Preacher with
Sidney Poitier and
Sidney-
Harry Belafonte.
Harry Belafonte. That's what I'm thinking about. Harry Belafonte.
Mm-hmm. So
Wow.
I call it edutainment. Entertainment and education, because I give you a bibliography in the backs of the book so that if you want to do more research on whatever subject the history entails, then you can do that.
Right.
So,
Right.
Beverly, I want to again welcome you to the Midnight Hour radio show.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad we hooked up.
Yeah, I know that's right.
So tell us, what inspired you as an African-American author to write, we have a novelist coming on, Brenda Jackson, later in the year.
That's my girl. We share the same initials. They call us the two BJs.
Right.
She
Yeah, I
does
know that's
contemporary, and I do historical. She's a good friend and just a sweetheart.
Y'all like locking it up in the romance novel business.
Well,
so.
it's a genre that black folks we weren't in for a while, and now that we are, Brenda's been around for almost as long as I have been, and it's one of the largest growing markets ever.
Well, with that said,
Mm-hmm.
did anybody, other than African American, did anybody ever try to steal? I'm sure, a lot of people out there has probably went through that. But anybody try to steal, take, or try to swindle your books or any of your novels?
No, I'm published out of New York. I'm not self-published. So,
Okay.
they got lawyers to do that.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, Beverly, I want to give a shout-out to Nancy Yost at the literary
Yes.
agency. She big time, man.
Is that right?
Huge, big
Okay,
time.
that's what's up.
Beverly
She's
got
my
it.
agent.
That's what I'm
She's
talking about.
fabulous. I've been with her, since 1996.
But see, people like you and her
Uh-huh.
making these, or should I say, opening these doors for other up and coming artists and that of a color, because a lot of people have this thing where, if you're of a color or you're of a certain culture, you're only allowed to do certain things in life, and that's furthest thing from the truth. I had to cut you out on that one, but I dig you.
I'm sorry.
No, but then you good to go, because you know what, you being real. You feel me?
Well, it is. There was a sister named Sandra Kitt who wrote sort of the first historical, and it was called Adam and Eva, and it was about two slaves.
Okay.
But my book, when it came out in '94, they didn't know what to do with it because it's 19th century,
Right.
and it's free black people.
Okay.
And publishers, the culture at large thinks that any time you write a book about black people in the 19th century, it has to be steeped in slavery.
I know, right? Yeah,
so
exactly.
here you go, this story with these, and and my history is true.
Right.
And you have this story set in this all-black town with these folks founded for themselves, after the Homestead Act and after the Civil War. And publishers didn't know what to do. They said, I got enough rejections to probably paper my kitchen. And they were saying, great story, but great story, but great story, but there was no box to put it in. Okay. So, but if you have good writing, there's somebody out there that's going to say yes. And this woman at Avon Books, which was the largest romance publisher in the world back then, said, I like your writing. I'm going to take a chance. And she did.
Right.
Well, we sitting here and we having a ball just being on the phone with you because...
You know what? This is fabulous.
Because you got 600,000 people listening to you around the world in different ways, in different countries, West Africa, England, France, Germany.
And I have a big following in Cleveland, too.
Is that right?
Yeah, I do. I do. I have a big following.
Y'all hear that, Cleveland? Y'all got Beverly Jenkins. Y'all got a big following in Cleveland, and so that's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful thing. Y'all got an opportunity to hear what she really about. Yeah. So,
bless it. Go ahead.
What would you like the people in Cleveland to know about you, Beverly?
Well, I'm out here working and writing. I just finished a short story today, which is also going to open up a couple ceilings, I hope. It's a independent publisher doing speculative fiction, which is like fantasy, science fiction. Short stories, all written by people of color, and the setting has to be before 1920.
Right.
Okay.
So nobody's ever done anything like that before. Gathered, Hispanics and African Americans and Native Americans and Asian Americans to give their view on, like I said, science fiction set historically. So I just finished it about an hour ago and sent it off to the editors, and I am looking forward to that being published.
That's going to be major.
It's going to be amazing.
I'm trying to tell you, that's going to be mega. For what you just said, before the 1920?
Yeah, so it would be historical. So mine is set in 1810, first set in Africa, and then set here, so in the South. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of stories have been submitted and looking forward to enjoying it. It was a Kickstarter campaign, so a lot of people around the world sent in money to get this published, and very, very interested to. And I don't know exactly when it's going to be published because the stories went in today.
Wow.
But it's something to look forward to.
Rocky, that's going to be massive.
Right. I can't wait for that.
Yeah. I'll let y'all know, okay?
Yeah. Please do.
Yes,
Please do.
definitely.
That's going to be magnificent.
So as a child, Beverly, what was some of the things that inspired you to become a writer?
Well, I had no aspirations to be a writer. All I ever wanted to do was work in a library. Books are my thing since I was little.
Is that right?
Okay.
And I was writing, was working at the reference desk at Park Davis, which was one of the big pharmaceutical companies back then. They've since been eaten up by, a bunch of other folks. I think they're Pfizer now.
Right.
But I was on the reference desk, and there was a Caucasian woman who worked with me who had been published. And she wanted, and I told her, I'm writing this little story, no big deal. I was not looking to get published. So she wanted to look at it, and when she saw it, she said, you need to get this published. Now, this was the book came out in 94, so this was like early 90s, late 80s. And there was nothing in the marketplace for us back then at all. Publishers did not think black women or black men read, which was crazy because every time I went to the bookstore, there was always black people in the bookstore.
Right.
So I knew of an agent, a sister whose name was Vivian Stevens, who was a big-time author in New York in the 80s. And she started all these different Harlequin lines and all that, black woman. Also started the Romance Writers of America. But she had gotten out of the business and she was doing agenting. So just to get Laverne off my back, because every day I came to work, she was like, well, did you call somebody? Did you call somebody? Did you call somebody? So to get her off my back, I sent it off to Ms. Stevens, and she called me at work like 3 days later and said, I want to represent you. Your stuff need work, which is, everything for a first novel. She said, but you got it. So it took us a while, like I said, to get it published, to get a publisher who was willing to step up, who, like I said, you had the testicular fortitude to step up. And it was Avon in New York. And I've been with them now for 20 years because I'm dancing with the one that brung me. And,
right. I feel
That's
you
what
on
you
that.
do.
Right.
That's what you do.
You know, and they have been just very, very wonderful, give me great covers, support me, send me on tour. I call them for stuff. They don't hesitate. So I really, they are a blessing. And I guess I'm a blessing to them because I'm making them a little bit of money.
Right, right.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure you are. 39 books published, Beverly Jenkins on the Midnight Hour radio show. So, Beverly, what would you say to somebody who inspired to be Beverly Jenkins?
Well, I would say write from your heart. Don't write what is trendy, because if you write what's trendy, trends have a tendency to come and go.
Right, that's right.
So write from your heart, write the best damn book you can, and learn as much as you can about the business of publishing.
Well, what would be trendy as far as like when you write? I mean, what would you consider trendy writing?
Right now, it's vampires.
Okay, that's very trendy.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I looked at sci-fi today, and every movie was either a vampire movie or a horror movie.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what? And I had to say, Myron, you're right, and Ms. Jenkins, you're right, because ever since they began film and started horror movies and so on and so forth, it's always been about vampire was always the number one flick to go see throughout, all the way up to today.
Right,
so
and they're very big in romance right now.
Yeah. Well,
so
vampires
Beverly,
and what we call paranormal, which is shapeshifters and werewolves as your soulmate. And I'm like, you know what? If I see a werewolf, I'm running.
right.
I know that's.
What do you do, Miss Jenkins, day-wise? I mean, how many hours do you work? Do you have a routine? That's what
I don't have a set schedule, but I work at night. I'm a widow 10 years, but when I started working, I had a husband and 2 kids.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, and I also had a job and a brownie troop and a bunch of other stuff going on in my life.
Right.
So I would work at night.
Okay.
So even now, kids are gone and grown, husband's in heaven playing golf.
Mm-hmm.
I work I'll start, if I'm working on something, I may not start work till 10 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll work till 2, 3 in the morning. And my girlfriends and the fans and my kids know, not to call me before 10 o'clock in the morning because Mama ain't up.
Right.
But and I wish, discipline, like now Brenda, when you talk to Brenda write one of them little bitty harlequins every 10 days.
Okay.
It take me 10 days just to get in my office.
right.
She made me tired just being around her.
Wow.
But that's why she's making the bucks. That's why she's got the movies. That's why she's on the New York Times bestsellers list.
Right.
But I do what I can with what I have and try and give my fans a different flavor with each book. Hopefully my fans will not say, well, yeah, that book was just like book 3, or that book was just like book 5, or that book was just like book 12. I want to give them a different flavor for each book. And I want to do quality as opposed to quantity.
Wow. You sound like you putting out an album.
It is. It's music for the mind.
Yeah.
Music for the mind.
And let me ask you something. They got golf in heaven?
I hope so, because that's what I'm sure.
I'm trying to tell you. I'm on the way on a golf cart.
Yeah, he was playing. Him and his boys was playing golf before Tiger Woods. So
man,
they've been at it a while.
Wow, I know that's right.
My dad played golf too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well,
ain't something that black folks just discovered, just like skiing.
Well, that golf.
right.
Golf. They created golf.
Yeah.
Well, Beverly, we got about 3 minutes left here on the Midnight Hour radio show. Romance novelist Beverly Jenkins, Cleveland. One of y'all support her a lot. Give us something you want to just share with anybody who just really reads your books, and maybe you can tell us what book inspired you the most.
Well, Indigo probably is my most famous, about a sister who was working on the Underground Railroad. but started out life as a slave. I was doing some research for something else, and I came across a little snippet in a history book that said this guy that they interviewed said he knew a man named Wyatt who was free, who sold himself into slavery for the love of a woman.
Oh.
Wow, that's deep right there.
Yeah, ain't that deep?
Oh.
Yeah, that is deep. I mean, and that seemed like it should be a movie right there.
You know, that's love.
She'd have been single the rest of her life messing with me.
You know?
I'm sorry.
But you know, romance has what we call the HEA, the happily ever after.
Yes.
And there is no HEA in slavery. So I didn't want to write their story, but I said to myself, well, what if they had a daughter and she was able to somehow escape slavery?
Right.
So when we meet her, it starts out with these letters that he's written to his family telling them what happened to him and, you know, why they'll never see him again. I mean, this is an educated man who owned land in Michigan in the 19th century. And when we meet his daughter, she is on the Underground Railroad helping slaves escape. It's a great story, got lots of great history, fabulous love story. And it's one of my most famous books.
Right. So with the last few minutes, we're going to leave up to you, Beverly, to tell people how to get in touch with you.
Okay. You can find me on Crackbook all day.
All right.
Facebook is the devil.
Right.
But I have a very, very active page there. My website is www.beverlyjenkins.net, and you can send me an email at indigo@beverlyjenkins.net.
You know what, Beverly? It was our pleasure having you on the Midnight Hour radio show.
I had a good time, and hopefully we can do this again.
Of course,
and
you know what?
Right.
You can set it. I'll put that in go right now. I'll contact your agent, and we'll set another date to bring you back because we want to know all about what you just got through writing.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's my Big Valley series. I got a series set in California with a mom and 3 sons, sort of like my Ponderosa stories. So, because I do westerns too. So,
wow!
Listen, you know what I mean? She is
do it all.
versatile.
I do it all. I do suspense. I've done 2 young adults. I do historicals. I do contemporaries. And like I said today, I did my first science fiction. So, you know, trying to keep it fresh.
Hey, I'm pumping the fist for you.
Once again,
thank you.
Cleveland, that was Beverly Jenkins and New York Literary Agency. I want to give a shout out to Nancy Yost and a shout out to her publisher. What was their name again? Avon Books.
Yeah, Avon Books out of HarperCollins, New York. Yeah.
HarperCollins Publishing. That's a heck of a thing.
Sure
Thank you for
is.
bringing us, Beverly Jenkins. All right, Beverly, we're going to have you back
to you.
on the
All right,
Midnight
I'd
Hour
love to be
radio
back,
show.
and we can talk a little bit longer. That'd be fine. And I get the phone number right this time, too. Okay?
All right, cool. We holler.
All right, we'll be right back.